Hello everyone, I'm Luke, the founder and CEO of Propflo. Today I'm going to be talking you through some of the minimum energy efficiency standards which we'll be applying to the private rented sector. So firstly, what's driving the energy efficiency agenda? For the UK to meet its legally binding net zero target by 2050, we need to decarbonise our housing stock, which accounts for around 20% of our carbon emissions. To achieve this, we need to invest 250 billion over the next 26 years. And the private rented sector's share of this is around 38 billion. And that means most UK homes are in scope, of which 2.6 million private rented properties are currently below a C rating. So that gives you a sense of the scale of the challenge facing us. But we're nowhere near doing enough upgrades. 80,000 retrofits are needed per month to meet our targets, but we're currently only doing around 17,000 per month. So the Labour government has made making the UK a green energy superpower one of its 5 priority missions. And an important strand of this is energy efficiency, which they're calling warmer homes. They have pledged an additional 6.6 billion of funding to upgrade 5 million homes over the course of this Parliament. And this would likely be in the form of grants and low interest loans, probably delivered via regional and local authorities. But they understand government can't finance everything, so they will be working with the private sector, including banks, to provide further financing for those 20 million properties. So what did the previous proposals say around minimum energy efficiency standards? So before the U-turn in September last year, the target was 2028, with a cap of £10,000 for landlords. And there are a number of exemptions, including high cost, all improvements being made, and there was one for external wall insulation in certain circumstances. And if there was a failure to comply, then the landlord could be fined thousands of pounds. But what does this mean in practice? So most properties in the private rental sector that are below a C, around 74%, actually need more than £10,000 to retrofit the property. And here are some of the most common improvements. And there are still some low-cost improvements that can be made, which cost maybe several £100s each. But solar panels would likely be one of the easiest solutions to comply under these standards. They're proven, there's relatively less disruption, and there's also a clear return on investment. But we also need to be careful of carbon-intensive heating, such as gas boilers. It might even be worth extending the life of those assets a bit longer. So what do we know so far about the new regulations? So the deadline has been extended 2 years to 2030, but just announced recently, it would also include social housing, so around another 1.2 million properties. This could potentially be significant when thinking about the availability of the supply chain closer to the 2030 deadline. And we need to be aware of EPC changes as well that will make them more accurate, but potentially take longer and cost more. Changes will recommend and favour heat pumps more, maybe even see carbon-intensive heating like boilers not prioritised. But we do know the direction of travel, and that's more renewables, insulation, and decarbonised heat. And there are considerations around the Renters Reform Bill. The health of the home is very much linked to energy efficiency. So with AWAB's law being extended into the private rented sector, there's going to be an increased focus on things like excess heat and cold, as well as mold risk. There's actually a lot of tech that has been developed for social housing that could translate it across to the private rented sector to help manage these risks. And thank you very much.